What was that? Hello and welcome back to TGTV, and more specifically a very top secret location. Shut up! How do we shut up the parakeets? Do you know?
No idea.
Right, I have to complain to someone about that. More specifically, a top secret location that you may well recognise from see-through glass, actually, when he got his McLaren 540C. I've digressed already, but what I'm here to do today is say farewell, very sadly, to my Mini John Cooper Works. This thing has been with me for a couple of years now. It's avoided the sea until a couple of weeks' time, in which time it's going to go. It hasn't really featured on my channel. I've done a couple of videos where it's kind of been my transport of choice, but I've never actually done a video solely on the car, and I've been promising one for about a year now, probably slightly more. So let's do a video on my experience with the car, exactly what I think of it, and yeah, give it the send-off it deserves. So let's have a little look. Right, let's go on a little drive, find some quiet roads, and get this thing popping. What was that?
I think.
Oh no.
I think. Absolutely gone.
Dead. Tee it up. Tee it up. Everybody. Is the camera broken?
Yeah, come on,
Oh. Well, I don't really care then. Go just straight in the bush. Right, we've got a very sensible video to be filming. The one on the back's still there. That lasted literally a metre.
That's all that's important. Wait.
Oh yeah, so one thing I should say is usually people clean their cars before videos, but I'm far too busy for that, so it's filthy. Okay, take two. Ollie, have you got anything else stuck to the outside of the car that's going to create a hazard?
Possibly.
Alright, well, we'll find out, won't we? Okay, so this has been my run around for the past 2 years. I have done a lot of miles for me in it. I've done about 6,000 miles, which some of you probably do that in a week. I've managed to do that in 2 years, but the car has been very, very useful as a run around. Oh, how's your gear change, mate? Clutch helps. So 6,000 miles, and why have I had it for 2 years and I'm getting rid of it? It's been on a lease. So much like my new daily that I put a couple of videos back now, that is on a lease as well. So I tend to lease my kind of run around errand cars like this car. They're kind of like my city cars that I just poodle around in and do admin in. So what is it? Obviously it's John Cooper Works. The colour is pepper white, that is what they call it. It's kind of like an off-whitey, creamy, don't know really. Black roof. You can get a red roof with it and red mirrors on all the Workses you can. I believe you can get Union Jack and stuff on the roof, but I don't know anyone in their right mind that would do that. These stripes were an extra. I think they're about 120 quid to add on, but I don't think you can get Works without getting stripes, so there we go. And they have this little red addition to it as well, so very nice. I went for the chili pack, which means you get the cup wheels. Absolutely vital. Please be quiet. Yeah, very, very important. So the chili pack comes with those wheels, I believe, and the bucket seats inside, which we'll see in a minute, and the sat nav as well. Or maybe that's the media pack. I don't know. I spec'd it so long ago, I don't actually have a clue. All this round here is absolutely standard, but you get red detailing obviously on the Works. Only the Works has this red stripe. And obviously your little badge there. I didn't put a private plate on it because this is kind of just an errand car. I don't really care about it. Although I will put a tacky private plate on my new daily, which is a couple of videos back. Make sure you go and click that after this video. There might be a link somewhere on the screen. Impressions of the car and reliability. I've had absolutely no issues with it at all over the past 2 years. It's been perfect, hasn't missed a beat. Started first time, every time. Not a single warning light, not a single glitch. Has never let me down. Pros, it sounds ridiculous as you've already heard. I think actually, let's come around the back. The one thing that I would do again, if I had the chance to spec it again, is putting the John Cooper Works exhaust on. It comes with like a little carbon bit around it, You'll know the exhaust when you see it. It's ludicrous. So if I could spec the car again, I would spec that exhaust. I didn't get a sunroof either. I'd probably do that if I got the chance to spec it again. But that all pushed up the monthly payments on the lease, and I'm quite stingy at heart, so I didn't bother. John Cooper Works though, exhaust is very, very important. There is a Challenge 210 edition. Challenge 210, it comes in like a grey colour. Slightly down on power on this, but it does come with that exhaust. So if you see any of those about, they are a very good shout there. They are hilarious. Boring stuff, it's a 2-litre twin power turbo. It's an F series BMW engine, and it pushes out about 220, 225, 229 brake horsepower, which is actually around the same as my Golf GTI, which I've just got. 0 to 60 is about 6.5 seconds. Front wheel drive. It isn't the fastest car in the world. It's not kind of pull your face off, scary fast, but it is enough to have a lot of fun in. And actually, in a way, it's quite nice to have a car that isn't ridiculously overpowered, because you can have a lot of fun in it without killing anyone or losing your license as quickly. And that is kind of some of the rationale behind getting the GTI. But anyway, we digress. That's going to be another video. I'm going to clickbait that as well. Let's have a little look inside anyway. Very, very well used, so there's an absolute state in there, and it is going to get cleaned before it goes back to the lease company, because otherwise I'll be charged thousands of pounds. Okay, so as I mentioned before, chili pack, you get bucket seats, so let's go have a little look at them. Please excuse the rubbish. I don't live in here, despite what it might look like. So yeah, chili pack, you get the bucket seats, and then I got the media pack as well, which puts the big screen in the middle. I also didn't bother with a manual because there's a town car, clutch and all this rubbish. I can't be dealing with that, so automatic is key. The gearbox, whilst it's not as good as DSG, it is still a very, very passable, decent gearbox. So I would advise the auto on this. Absolutely no issues with that at all. Saying it's not as good as the DSG isn't a bad thing at all, because the DSG gearbox, as everyone knows, is very, very good. It's pretty much there. There is no real difference between them, but I'd say DSG does just pop it. And that is pretty much it, really. Things that I did skimp on, spec-wise. I could have got a Harman Kardon speaker system. The speaker system in here is pretty decent. I didn't really see the need to bother to spend thousands of pounds on that, but I'm sure it would have been a worthy upgrade. Sat-nav in the iDrive. It's not iDrive, it's Mini, but it is basically BMW. The iDrive system works very, very well. Bluetooth, all of that stuff works absolutely perfectly. Never glitches. And inside, actually, we'll go for a little drive and I'll take you through some of the features, because it's got a go-kart mode, which is actually really good. Very amusing. So let's hop back in and do some more stupidity. So we're inside. Driving impressions. What's the ride like, first and foremost? The ride is actually, as you'd expect for a Mini. The handling's unbelievable. It's like being in a go-kart. It's like being on rails, going around corners. I must admit, I haven't tracked it. I'm not going to give you kind of track driving impressions, but as you can probably even hear, it's not the smoothest ride. You're not going to get Rolls-Royce comfort in here driving around the place, because it is a Mini. It is on low-profile tyres. The suspension's quite stiff, and Minis are famed for their handling, not for their ride comfort. So if you want something that's going to cushion you around the place, go and get like a VW Passat or something sensible. But on the upside, it is hilarious to drive, so I really don't care, and it's not that uncomfortable. I think I used to have a supercharged R53 Cooper S, and I think that was a lot more crashy than this one is. This one feels a lot more refined. That's reminded me, the brakes are actually very good. One thing that has struck me between my Golf and this, because I've been driving the two back to back quite a lot, the steering in this is a little bit more heavy, which obviously goes with the slightly more sporty feel of the car. The Golf is very, very light around town. Like literally you can steer it with like a finger. This has got a lot more weight to the steering, which I actually quite like, and you can kind of manhandle the car quite a lot more. And in terms of interior quality versus the Golf, they are actually on par. They're both excellent. But yeah, the interior in here is on par with cars kind of twice its cost. Everything's very, very well made. There's metal where it's supposed to be, nothing rattles, and I think that's the BMW element coming through. That's the very German kind of solid build quality. Steering wheel's really, really cool. The paddles are a nice size. Top marks really in here. So when Ollie drove this recently, he had to when we were filming a video, and he commented that the pedals are quite close together. If you're wearing trainers with like quite a wide sole, like Yeezys, whoever wears them, oh look at those dogs. They're quite wide, so you can press both pedals together, but you get used to that. And I can't think of an instance where I've pressed both at the same time. So yeah, it's also got quite cool driving modes. So when you're pootling around town, you can press down here just below the gear stick. There is a little function that says green. You slide it to the right and it goes into low consumption mode. If you want to overtake anyone and you put your foot down, it will respond and you will get like a lot more throttle feel. But normal driving in green mode, the throttle response is a lot less and there's a lot less power on tap in normal driving, and obviously it uses a lot less fuel. Fuel economy is very, very good in green mode. You can regularly see 40 odd average around town in green if you're not being a bell end. But I don't think I've ever driven this in green mode, truth be told. Unless I'm running out of fuel, then I will reluctantly put it in green mode, but most of the time I have it in sport, which just puts it in hooligan mode. And also when you knock the gear stick to the left, it puts the gearbox in sport mode as well. So that is full on idiot mode, which is what I have it in most of the time, and at which point your average fuel consumption still actually remains above 20, 25, even around town driving like a tit, which I think is quite good. So yeah, it does pick up speed pretty alarmingly. Off the line, because it's front wheel drive, it's not that fast. It takes a while to kind of build up momentum, but mid-range and torque in this twin power 2-litre turbo engine is a hell of a lot better than the 1.6-litre Peugeot sourced engine, I believe, in the F56. This is the oh, mine's gone blank, don't know what it is. So I was speaking about fuel economy earlier. You are very unlikely to see the kind of 40 to 50 miles per gallon figures, because this thing pops in overrun when you have it in sport and you're driving like a loon. So you'll find yourself just upping the revs and then jumping off the accelerator just to listen to the pops and bangs. So yeah, you'll totally ruin your fuel economy driving this thing around wireless, unless you're not simple. So that's pretty much it. Final points to note are the space in the car. So minis are not known as being spacious, hence the name Mini. Seats in the back, there are only 2, not 3. So I've got a kid on the way, so I actually need 3 seats. Lol, joke, I don't really. Not that I know of anyway. But yeah, there's only 2 seats in the back, so I've gone for now 3 seats in the Golf. But if space is important to you and you need 3 seats in the back, then probably don't get a Mini. But not really people care about passengers, so it's fine. And also the boot in here, if you need a boot, you don't really get one in here. This is a shoebox for reference, and it's pretty much, that's pretty much the depth of it. So I didn't do a how many Yeezys could you fit in the Mini video, because that's my usual metric of boot space, but safe to say it'd only be a few pairs. What on earth is this? Do you know what that is, mate?
Oh, I think it's rubbish, to be honest.
You said it, not me. We have a signed picture of
Something important.
I don't know, something aquatic. Right. Anywho, actually, we do have something quite interesting in here. This is so off topic, I really, really don't care. There we go. Ferrari centre caps from the F12. Because I swapped them to the carbon ones, but they're still in the back of the Mini. I must remember to take those out before that goes back to the lease company. Those are actually worth a few quid. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you want to see the delivery and collection of my Untitled RS, which is coming very, very soon. I believe it will be, by the time this video is out, probably 2 or 3 weeks. I'm off to Maldives at the end of the month as well, so it might coincide with that, in which case I'll pick it up when I get back. But I will be doing a video in the Maldives and some Q&A, and all sorts of other stuff. So do hit the subscribe button, and yeah, that's it. All right, see ya.